Good morning, America. Good afternoon from Germany. And sorry at first that I'm a little bit late today. I got stuck behind a truck. Uh, I tried to unload at a grocery store and had a little bit of a parking problem. And yeah, therefore I'm late for just some minutes, but we are not too late for the economic news today. And we have a lot of news today because, yeah, therefore I will live stream 3 times today. This is the first time. The second time will be when market is open. Then we will have 2 other major news. And the third time will be for FOMC meeting at 2 p.m. Eastern time. But let's don't waste our time and look right away at the market and especially the economic dates for today. If you haven't done so far, please give a like to my stream and subscribe to my channel. Today we have in 10 minutes ADP non-farm employment change. This number will especially be important for the job market. We will have even more important job market numbers this Friday, like always, the first Friday of a month. And today is February 1st, therefore a new month. And we will have these data here from job market, ADP non-farm employment change. The expected number is 178K. Let's see how the number will be and how it will affect the market. I don't think that we will see a big change in market because we have other major news today. As you can see, half an hour after the market is open, or even 15 minutes after the market is open, manufacturing PMI, Tuesday event, and some major events half an hour after the market is open. ISM manufacturing, Joel's job openings, and today at 2 p.m. FOMC interest rate decision, and half an hour later the press conference. Unfortunately, I have a telephone conference, therefore I will not be able to live stream the press conference, but I will be live here for FOMC statement and interest rate decision. So we will probably live stream 5 or 10 minutes before this meeting, and I will have time 15 minutes after this meeting is over. Then I will have my own meeting, but I will go live today 3 times. So this is for today. And we have some other major news today after the market closes. Let's see here earnings calendar, because today is after market close Meta platforms. And yeah, from the options market, we already know that there's a huge expectancy of movement for Meta, more than 8% expected movement. So let's see what happens here after the market close with Meta earnings. And this is just the first of several announcing tomorrow the earnings after market close, because there we have the big ones: Apple, Amazon, Google. So a lot of more earnings to come tomorrow after the market close. This one will be even more important tomorrow, but today after market close we will have a first outlook of tech stock earnings with Meta announcing its earnings after market close. Preparing for the interest rate decision here in about 6 hours is the FOMC meeting, or the release of the interest rate decision. The meeting already started yesterday. Like always, it's over 2 days, and the market participants expect about 99.3% for a 25 basis points move. So there's no change from last week. We are currently at 4.5%, and the expectancy to 4.7% is almost pretty sure, but 0.7% expect no change at all. So 50 basis points, no one is expecting this. This would be really crazy. If this would happen, then the market would really tumble. And this would also cause maybe a rally if they would not give higher interest rates, but I don't think so. The market is pretty sure we will see 25 basis points, and probably we will see this. And we will have another meeting in March. The expectancy there is 84% for another interest rate hike of 25 basis points, and then the rest of the year we will stay at the level of 5% interest rate. But at the last meeting in December, the expectancies are 34% that we will see drop back to 4.75%. Let's see, therefore, the press conference will be really important. I don't think that the interest rate decision is important because the market is expecting that we will see these 25 basis points hike, and this should be priced in. But more important will be the press conference, because every word of Jerome Powell will be treated like like gold. So everyone wants to know about the next interest rate decision, and especially at the end of the year, if he is saying yes, probably we can set lower interest rates, because the last times he always denied and said no, we are not in the mood of lowering interest rates this year 2023, and therefore it will be interesting to see what he is saying and his words. And this can cause, of course, the prices to go back a little bit. Let's see with Nasdaq today. I have a slight short position already in place here, but it is derived from an options position. So I already made some money on the options position and still holding some shorts here on Nasdaq future. But I want to take on more shorts here on the high side. Maybe we'll see a fade off here to the top on the interest rate decision, and then I want to take on a short position right before the press conference. Let's see how far we can go up here into the 12,200, 12,250 area. The last time we talked about this, you see here, this was on Friday, and we talked about this, and I said 12,260 is my beginning of the resistance area, and you see we went into this resistance area and we closed lower. So the high point was 12,308 points, so right below the previous 12,330 points, but it worked really good as a high point and as a resistance level, because here you see this was a previous high point, 12,330 points, and this was another previous high point from December 1st. This was the level I thought we would reject, but we went a little bit higher into the resistance area and then we were rejected. So we had a huge sell-off on Monday, even more on Tuesday, but then suddenly the buyer stepped back in, as you can see, and we could hold above the 9 EMA level and are trading sideways now, probably the whole day until the interest rate decision is made. Let's see how the job numbers come in today, but I wanted to live stream just to prepare you for the whole day. And just to discuss your questions or what else you have, because I wasn't live streaming the previous 2 days. So if we look at Euro USD, then we see that Euro is rising again since yesterday. So it dropped the previous 4 days, but yesterday it made a new low and then went higher again today. So this is indicating that it's bullish for the stock market, because there's outflow of the US dollar, inflow into the euro, and the Euro USD is the currency pair with about 60% of volume in the dollar index, DXY. And this is normally indicating that there is not a lot of stress in the system, not a lot of fear, and the money is flowing back into the riskier assets like stocks. And this is what we can see right now. So euro is getting stronger, US dollar is weakening. The same with the WIX. With WIX we see it's a little bit higher, but because of the FOMC meeting, of course. You see the difference from Friday to Monday. So since there we went back to the level of 20. Yesterday we had a high point of 20.7, but because the stock market went higher again, we went below 20 again. But if we see a surprise today with the interest rate decision or on the press conference, then VIX can rise really, really fast and sudden. So let's see what happens here. Maybe we'll see first the gap close on the interest rate decision, and then in the press conference we will rally again. I don't know, but yeah, it is correlated with the stock market inverse. So when the stock market is dropping, VIX should rise here. I have currently a long position in VIX. So it is an option position, but it's a little bit more complicated to explain. Therefore, I say it's a long position, because it's a hedge position to hedge my short Nasdaq futures. So when the future is dropping, then the VIX will rise, and this can cause my position here to inflate, and I have a VIX long position here for the next 30 or 60 days. So let's see what happens here, because I think we had the really low point of VIX, and when the market is dropping again, VIX should rise, and this is what I'm expecting for the next several weeks. Yeah, let's go on with, we have 2 minutes left. Okay, let's just talk about crude oil and then move on to the news. We had the resistance area we were talking for several weeks now, and again last Friday we were back into the resistance area, and again we were rejected really harsh and made new lows. So you see the strong correlation with the stock market going higher today, but still far below the previous high points in the resistance area. So it is still working between $82 and $83 is a strong resistance area for crude oil. And now let's move on to the news here. In 1 minute, ADP non-farm employment. So let's do this a little bit smaller here, and then see our Nasdaq chart on a 1 minute time frame, and later we can talk about ES future or S&P 500. But for now we want to see the movement here. So like always, I do not trade the news. I do not day trade here at all, especially not on days like this. But I have a swing trade position in place. As you can see here, it's a smaller short position for my portfolio size on micro Nasdaq futures, still in place. And I think that we will have some more room to the downside, minimum 11,750 points, or maybe a second target at 11,550 points. So the numbers went in lower as expected, and the market was rising 25 points to the upside. Let's see if this was the first false direction or if it will rise further. So I would like to have higher price levels to short at higher levels. Why? Because let's go on an hourly chart. Because here you see the high point yesterday was at the closing level, and we now test. But we can go above this, and then we'll probably see higher price levels, maybe back into the 12,200 points area. So it's difficult to see a special level here between this resistance area and the high point of yesterday. So I don't know if we will make it up here before the FOMC meeting, but I won't take on more shorts, more early shorts before I'm into this resistance area. So I would wait for 12,250 points to short more, or I will wait for confirmation to the downside. And for confirmation to the downside, I want to see push below this previous Fibonacci level here, 11,850 points. This was the low point of yesterday. I want to see a push below, and then we can have more room to the downside, probably maybe retest of the previous lows here at 11,600 points. But I would wait for push below here to take on more shorts that I have at the moment. This is for Nasdaq, and now let's go on with ES future. So ES for the S&P 500, we see the same pattern. It's trying to push through the resistance level here again today, but yesterday we closed right at the resistance area, at the resistance level of 4,090 points. Closing was 4,090 points exactly yesterday. So you see how important this Fibonacci level is, 76.4%. And this meeting today of the Federal Reserve Board will be important, because then we have the catalyst to push the prices through to the upside, or to see the final rejection here, because we are already trying for 4 or 5 consecutive days now to push through this area. We had higher highs here. The previous high from December 13th was 4,180 points. So there's still some room to the upside, about 2.1%. But that doesn't mean that we have to retest these levels, because you see how far the closing levels were on this day. But maybe we'll see a higher level here before the outcome of the interest rate decision, because the previous high here from December 1st was 4,142 points. And even this would be a rally of 1.2%. So yeah, we have to be prepared for everything. We are at an important level right now at S&P 500 and at Nasdaq. So yeah, it will be really interesting this time with the interest rate decision and especially the press conference. So I hope the journalists will ask good questions and Jerome Powell will have to answer in his normal way. I hope he's answering hawkish like the previous meetings and pushing the prices down a little bit just to act as a catalyst for more bears to enter and to bring down the prices a little bit, because this was a crazy rally in the previous months of January. And yeah, it was a really strong January. Normally January is strong, but this January was especially strong. I think in Nasdaq, how far was the movement in Nasdaq? Let's see. This was December 30th, so here was a closing of last year, and until yesterday we had the closing here, so this was 10% in a month. So this is really a strong movement for an index, even for Nasdaq. 10% in a month is really strong. And yeah, normally we need a pushback. Even if it's not a retest of the previous lows, there should be a pushback of this strong movement. So if we just use our Fibonacci levels from previous low of January 6th to the high point of last Friday, then we have new Fibonacci levels here. You see the previous one was the closing of the day before yesterday, and the 50% Fibonacci level is where I want to see the prices. So this would be my main target, 11,530 points. Maybe take the profits a little bit earlier at 11,550 points. We almost had the test of this level previous week, but the low point was 11,605 points. So only 70 points needed to be at the 50% Fibonacci level from this movement here in the month of January. Let's see what happens here. Parabolic SAR still indicating an uptrend. We are below all moving averages like 9-day EMA, 20-day EMA. So it's looking bullish. Yeah, well, no matter what I'm saying. We have higher lows, higher highs. But yeah, even if we make or retest the previous lows here, we can still be in an uptrend. But this is what I'm speculating on here. Just a retest of the previous lows at this important area, and this would be 600 points to the downside. So this is an interesting risk to reward ratio, because if you place your stop loss right below the previous highs at 12,350 points, for example, so I would have only 200 points risk to the upside, but I have 600 points to the downside as performance, what I can make. So this is an interesting risk to reward ratio of 3 to 1. And yeah, this is what I like. Therefore, I would play it even if it's against the main trend on a day chart. Let's move on with Tesla, a stock I shorted in the previous week. So let's see it on a day chart. It's still strong, but you see the rejection here a little bit above this 76.4% Fibonacci level. I drew a Fibonacci line here. Let's see it on a week chart, and you can see it a little bit better. So it was a previous support level at the $200 area. Then we had a retest from below of the $200 area. The low point was a $100 area. So if you draw Fibonacci levels in between this movement, then you get your Fibonacci retracements here. And this is what I'm trading. So I'm trading again against the trend here, but on a day chart, overall on a week and monthly chart, it is still in a downtrend, even if it's a strong uptrend in the previous months, because this movements from the low to the high was 77% in less than a month. This is pretty strong even for Tesla. Yes, the movement down was also really harsh, 48% down in a month. But now we had a strong rejection here. And let's see how far we can go. But $180 area should be a stronger resistance now, because you see we had more movement within this area here. And then we had a huge drop in December. And therefore I think the $180 area should be a stronger resistance. But I also said this last week for the $150 level, and we just ran through. So I got stopped out and I got into new shorts at the $180 area, so I shorted at $178. So I'm still in the green a little bit, but gave back a little bit yesterday with the green candle here. Let's see what happens when the market pulls down, then probably Tesla will also have to go lower. Small short position for my portfolio in Tesla stock right now. What is else interesting? Natural gas. Do we have a natural gas chat? Yes, here. Natural gas is pulling down, consecutive week. You see the day chart here. Yeah, it's pretty weak. So the purple line is a 9 EMA line, the blue line is a 20 EMA line, and you see we still are below all the major areas here, all red candles. Maybe we try to hold now above this $2.50 area, and we tried to hold above the $3 area, didn't work, went through with a huge push. So I have to zoom in because the movements are still big here. These candles are sometimes 7, 8 or 10% days, but it's sometimes difficult to see because we had the previous huge movements. A nice rejection here would be to the $3 area, but it will be difficult to close above the 9 EMA line. And you see parabolic SAR is now really near to the current price level, but we can probably see a short squeeze here, a push out of the bears when we manage to close at the $3 area or higher, and then we can probably see a smaller push to the upside. I wouldn't say that it can cause a change of direction, but at least it can push out some bears of their short positions, and maybe there will be some take profit from the bears. So I'm not in a position right now, but I have it on my watch list and I'm looking at it every day. So as soon as we go at the $3 or higher or close at this area, then we will have a change of direction with parabolic SAR, and this is what I'm looking at, and I want to see a clear change of direction here, and then I would trade it to the long side with a small trade over 1 or 2 days maybe, but not interesting for me to trade it right now in this sideways or still downwards area. Crude oil, we already talked about this. What else do we have? US dollar, Japanese yen is still downtrending. So we managed to go higher from the mid of January here when we had the low point at 127.22. So I was expecting to make a shoulder formation, but we couldn't manage to break out from this area here. Still trading sideways now. No indication that we will see higher levels again. My target was here 136 or even 138, but we didn't manage to go, so it is still downtrending here in a downtrend. This clearly to see. So we are more at the high point than at the low point of this downtrend. But as soon as we see a break above 131.30, so previous highs, we would leave the downtrend and therefore probably see more buyers stepping in, and this is what I would wait for to hop on a long position. Not going long too early, it's still downtrending here, but as soon as we see a clear break of this pattern, then this can rally to the upside pretty fast. But it depends on the decisions of the Bank of Japan, which can be sometimes be really silly or random. Therefore you have to be cautious trading US dollar, Japanese yen. Gold, yes, we can also talk about gold. Let's see, do I have here gold? Gold price. Yes, the gold future. Gold future on a day chart. So gold is trading sideways. We had a huge movement to the upside at the end of December and the beginning of January, but since mid-January we are just trading sideways. Why? Because now it is priced in and factored in that we will probably see the peak of inflation and the peak of interest rate hikes and just stay at the 5% level in 2023, and therefore gold price is trading sideways. But as soon as the market is expecting that the interest rates will drop at the end of the year, then gold can rise further. But if they factor in that we will not see lower interest rate at the end of the year, then probably gold prices will have to drop because it doesn't pay dividends and therefore you have opportunity cost. If you hold gold, you will not earn interest payments, and yeah, the higher the interest rates are, the more the opportunity costs for holding gold are, and therefore it is worse for gold if the interest rates stay so high. So trading sideways here, if we see a breakout above, then it can be more interesting, but for now it's just trading sideways in this broader area between 1915 and what was the previous high point, $1,966. So this is a broad area, and I would wait for a clear breakout to one of these directions and compare it to the CME FedWatch tool with the expectancies for the probabilities of the next interest rate decisions for this year. And if you see a shift here to the 5%, then this would be probably not good for gold. And if we see a shift here in maybe November and December down to lower interest rate levels, then this could cause gold to rally. Okay, this were all stocks. Yeah, we talked about Lucid last week, not in the streams, but in a chat, because we had this crazy movement here. In one day, the stock went up about 93%. And yeah, I shorted. It was interesting to see because we had several secret breakers here in place, because there was a volatility break every 5 or 10 minutes. It was just the opening and the stock went higher by $1 and then was again in the limit up. So I waited for the first candle to the downside here, and you see how far it went. This is a 50-minute chart. I can also show you a 5-minute chart. I hope we can go back. Yeah, so here you see this was a closing here, then we were in the limit up again at $17.80, and then we reopened here but closed 50% of this gap. So what I want to show you here is the low point right after we reopened, the low point and the previous high point here. So what you see is again Fibonacci for gap close, and this time this is a strong movement. So this was, what was it here? This was 18% down in less than a minute, and we had 50% of this gap closed. So this was an interesting point to enter shorts, and I entered not at the high point here, not at $16.10, but at $15.50. We talked about this $15.50. I had a stop limit in place to enter shorts here at $15.50, and I shorted, and yeah, I closed right after the reopening here in the, what was it, $13.20. But I still have a small short position in place. I want to close at $10. You see it's still pushing down. Yeah, let's see what happens here. Half of the gains are already in my portfolio and the other half is still working and running. But Lucid is really went too far, too high, because there were rumors that they will be overtaken by, I think it was a Saudi company, never heard of, yeah, a fund or something like this, and it was just stupid nonsense because there was a high amount of short interest in the stock, and all these short sellers were squeezed out here and had to cover their short positions, and this was just the rumor to cause this short squeeze and nothing else. I think it's stupid and no one will buy Lucid at this price point here, because they are just burning cash right now and haven't shown a proof of concept, and yeah, they are far behind their production numbers, and therefore I don't think that someone will buy the remaining stocks here. But yeah, we always have to be prepared for everything. But my entry level was $15.50, therefore I am still good in the money here with this position and can just hold it. For Meta, let's just talk about Meta and then close the live stream until market opens. So Meta, after hours, we will have the earnings. Therefore, let's see where we are with Meta stock. So it went higher in the previous weeks, is down a little bit in this week. But as you can see, we have major areas here, especially this one was a previous low point. You can clearly see we hold this level for several weeks here. So this is clearly an important resistance, and yeah, the earnings now can cause to move above or to be rejected by this level. So therefore, it will be again really interesting to see the earnings for Meta. Which levels can be important? I would draw a Fibonacci from last week's high point to the low point here of October, and then we see an important level would be here $137.90, or here the $128 area, or 50% correction to the $120. So if the whole stock market is pulling back today because of FOMC statement and because of bad earnings tomorrow from the other tech stocks, then we could see a drop back to $120, and it would still be in an uptrend here on a weekly time frame, but on a monthly time frame it's still in a downtrend. So here you clearly see, since we had the ticker symbol change to Meta, it's downtrending. Even if it's reversing right now, you clearly see that this area is a stronger resistance area even on a monthly chart, and therefore be cautious if you want to trade today Meta because of the announcement of earnings after market close today. Yeah, that's it for the small overview before the market open, and we will have more news when the market is open. So I will go live 5 minutes before the market opens at 9:25 a.m. Eastern time, and then we can see manufacturing PMI and the other important news here, ISM manufacturing job openings, and then we will have a third live stream at 2 p.m. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you for your likes, and if you haven't done so far, for a subscription to my channel. See you later, and have a nice start into your trading Wednesday. Goodbye.